Great evening. Welcome to Why Should I Be Ashamed? I've been looking forward to meeting with you. We have great convo tonight. I am the author of the book, Why Should I Be Ashamed? Look, can you do me a great favor tonight? Will you please like and share? We want to get this conversation going and stirring. And will you please send us some hearts, some hand waves, whatever. I just want to know that you are in tonight and that you get us and we want to get you. And we'll be right back after you like and share.
Much more live.
No more shame, no more shame in this game. No more shame, no more shame.
No more shame in this game. And I know that I'm not alone. You have a story, you have a story. And everybody don't want to come on Facebook tonight and let people know their story. But I know that we all have a story. And listen, tonight we want to come to you with part two of the 10 things you should know about sexual assault. And tonight we have our co host here, Pastor Anthony Calvert. Would you say hello to our family tonight?
Yes, good evening, everyone. It's so great to be here. Co-host, does that mean I have some authority or something? What comes with that title? I was just wondering. So I want to take advantage
It
of those
means
opportunities.
second to none. It means second to none.
Second to none.
Uh-huh.
So that means I'm not second, so I'm leading in a particular area. What area is that?
The co means cooperation. The CO means cooperation tonight. That's what it stands for.
Mhm.
So we're just going to flow, and you're going to give your perspective. I'm going to give my perspective. And it all has to do with my experience, what I want to share. You know, the half has not been told. I cannot tell it all in this 35 minutes or 30 minutes. But even in the book, the half has not been told, but it's to help you to delight in my life and see that even though I was traumatized, but there has been good outcome. 5 children, it was 8 with the married couples, 5 grandchildren, and just wonderful friends and family and loved one, and I've learned to get through some things. Of course, we're not over everything,
No,
but
we're not.
we're on this journey to this journey of peace, this journey of love, and this journey that you can live and you can recover. It's a journey of recovery. So I wanted to share with you 10 things that you should know about sexual abuse and sexual assault. And we try to make it very plain and simple where even a little child could understand and that could know that it's not the end of their life's experience. So, do we want to get started? I think on last week we left off on number 5.
Yes,
And
I'm not sure if we completed it all. Do you know if we did, Broderick, or not? All right, so
Well-
maybe we'll just read over number 5 and then we'll go forward. Just to
okay,
make
you
sure.
go read over number 5.
Great. Let's cover number 5 really quick. Number 5 was simply
No,
this.
no, wait a minute.
What?
This is not a rush action. We speak to people. We're not going to just traumatize people with
What do you mean? How-
we have time for you. We have time for you. So let's relax.
All right, as I was saying before I was, whatever that was, yes, here we go. So, sexual assault is one of the 10 things everyone should know about sexual assault. Sexual assault is widely misunderstood. And social psychology research on attitudes towards sexual assault has demonstrated that individuals in our society hold many prejudices about and negative views of sexual assault victims. This will be shown on your screen what I'm reading now, so when you get a chance, look at it, not while you're driving. But here's also what it says. It says this: thus, victims often suffer not only from the trauma of the assault itself, but also from the effects of these negative stereotypes. In other words, we look at people who have been sexually assaulted in a certain way. We expect less of them. We expect them to be depressed.
We expect a bad outcome.
Exactly. Also, this next point says this: the result is that victims feel socially derogated and blamed following their sexual assault, which can prolong, continue, and intensify the substantial
Wait a minute.
psychological.
Are you still on number 5?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. Okay. I
Yes.
thought you had moved on. Go ahead.
All right. And they will feel derogated, blamed, and blamed and blamed following their sexual assault, which can prolong, continue, and intensify the substantial psychological interruptions and emotional distress the victim experiences. Here's the last one for number 5, where we left off last week. It is clear that negative reactions from family members, friends, loved ones, and society have a harmful effect on victims. In other words, when a victim has suffered sexual assault, sometimes the family has a negative reaction toward them. They're not accepted by the family because you expose what a family member has done.
Yeah, and I believe also oftentimes it's generational. That victim is saying, did nobody do anything about me? We were okay. I'm okay. No one called the police when I was victimized. Nobody went to the court when I was victimized. Nobody said. And so, because it's a generational thing. Because had someone in our families, our forefathers, and had someone dealt with it, then we would know how. Also, I find they don't deal with it because they don't know how. They act as if it's not a crime, and I'm here to share with the whole world that sexual assault is a crime. Now, I know that we have many ways of dealing with it, but we're going to have to let the victim know that they have a right to tell their stories. They have a right to share their stories. And if they are looking for that person to be punished or reprimanded by the law, that is their right. It doesn't matter what the families, because most of the times the family has not dealt with their own issue. My mother, bless her heart, she's passed over now. She had been assaulted many, many times, but she never dealt with it. She swallowed it, and she dealt with hers through alcoholism, which it spills over in my life, and then it spills over in our children's children, and just keep going on. So we have to come to a place, and families need to realize that you don't have to be ashamed or embarrassed. Get help. We already went over that. So we want you to know that it's okay when these things are addressed. We must address them so we can get better. You can't just keep covering it up. And so that's what society has said to us. They make the victims feel a certain way, but I stand and I don't allow people to make me feel any kind of way, to make me feel at fault, to make me feel embarrassed. And for a long time, I was embarrassed, and some of you are out there embarrassed. You're still embarrassed. And I know you have to move through that. when you come to that place and you find value in yourself, and then you take responsibility. I've had enough of my own disappointment and bad behavior that I had to be responsible for. I can't afford to take responsibility for the ugly things that has been done to me as a child or as a woman when it comes to sexual assault. Now, did you have anything else you wanted to say on that one before I move to the next one?
No, well, I would like to add simply this, that,
Do you
I th-
have any questions?
no, not a question, but I think sometimes the negative reaction to people who have been abused, it sort of goes along with the line of not knowing how to deal with it. I remember when you began to share your story with me, it was not a lot of response I had because I didn't know if you
You were in
wanted.
shock, huh?
Yeah, but I didn't know if you wanted me to be responding nurturing, be responding mad at the person who did it, be responding and saying you didn't deserve it. You just don't know what to say to that person because you haven't experienced it. So I want to say this to those who have been assaulted or abused, to give their family an out. Let the people who you expect something from, let them know what you need from them. And I do remember you constantly letting me know what you wanted, what you wanted me to say. You would have to remind me, hey, when I tell you my story, here's what I want from you. I don't want you to fix it. So to anyone who has experienced sexual abuse, definitely let your family know. Let the people that you expect something from, let them know what you want from them. So you probably won't get such a negative reaction from them. You'll get what you need. So that's what I
I
want to say.
don't know that is true, because sometimes, but that's your perspective, but sometimes you can tell people, you can tell grown-ups, and they just don't want to deal with it. This is one of those problems in the world that no one wants to deal with. They'll deal with war, they'll deal with killings, they'll deal with police brutality, they'll deal with COVID. But when you say that my child has been sexually abused by you, everything seems to shut down or close or get quiet. Or some guys, if it's their child, they go really crazy, like the man on the movie A Time to Kill. And we know that we can't go around murdering everybody for everything that we do wrong, because then all of us would be wrong. But this is punishable by law, and I think that's the key thing. And we are trying to make families aware that you need to have a conversation. You need to find out about how to deal with this, and not make excuses, because culturally and I'm not just saying black or white, or all of us, we make excuses for everything that we don't want to deal with. We deflect, and we say, oh, that girl over there, and so we make too many excuses when you have Google everything else and you cry about everything else. But the burden of sexual abuse or assault, no one wants to carry the burden, especially when it comes to women. No, we make all these reasons for, I don't have the first time that I'm 60 years old, past 60. I haven't had one time that a family member has come to me and said, Sheila, I'm so sorry for what happened to you. I'm so sorry for what happened to your loved one. Not one time. And why is that so hard? But yet, we'll prepare for death. We'll prepare, and it is just like a death when someone strips you of your intimate virginity and things like that. So have concern. You don't need a book to know, to be concerned, to ask questions, to ask, how are you? Just like any other trauma. If you were beat half to death, you would want your family to come and say, hey, how are you? But when it comes to sexual abuse, most of the time, people go silent or they'll go all the way to the left and ready to fight and kill, but there's no discussion. So that is so important to have discussions because, and if you haven't experienced, don't just assume that silence is the best way to handle these things just because you have not experienced this.
So are you saying this? Um, are you saying um, are you saying families should? So let's make us a family here. Me, you, and Broderick. We're family, and our niece has experienced sexual abuse by one of our family members. Are you saying Broderick should get on the phone? I should call, or we should go by and see our niece and say,
Yeah,
hey, we're
just
sorry that this happened to you.
yeah,
And
act just like as if she had been murdered or he had been murdered. Yeah,
why?
because it's such a traumatic experience. You can't express it, and you want that. You still need that love and concern. You feel, you feel so out of it as it is. You feel like nothing. You feel unclean. You feel wanted. When it's a family member, you're in shock. You feel like, whoa, I trusted. You lose so much, especially, and you know the stats. You lose so much in trusting that person, and you go through life having trust issues and value issues and worth, and it almost brings you down to to zero. But people, they think that just get a bath, take a Tylenol, and you will be all right. And it's more to it than that. So families, if you would gather around, stop saying don't talk about it, because see, when little Johnny goes crazy, and I'm just using those names, little Johnny has fits, or little Sarah started biting people at school, or little Monty started doing all kind of crazy things as children. Somebody said a little kid was throwing feces on the wall at school. You know something's got to be traumatizing that child. Who does that? You don't even have to have a whole lot of training. So, we let things get too out of hand, and then you have all this expectation. They still wanted me to make A's. They still want you to be great. They still want you to shut up and just behave. Don't have no aftermath from this trauma, from this PTSD, from this shock to your whole system, to your whole mindset. And so
I want to
it's
ask.
important.
I want to ask Broderick to just for a moment. So while he's getting the mic, I just want to hear from a different source, and maybe his photo will show up on the screen. But Broderick, here's what I want to ask. What do you think would be the benefit for family? I mean, even those that are far away, and you hear about, what do you think the
And
benefit?
this is no throw off to my family, because my family need healing just like everybody else's family. This is no throw off to your family
No.
or Roger's family. This is for all of us need help with understanding this. So understand that. Be clear about that.
But
Because you a lot of times, because we're talking, she's talking about me. No, this is for everyone. It's not just a particular person. We want to help all of us.
And I'm glad you said that, because this is not a throw off, but I believe sometimes people don't respond or say anything because they don't see a benefit. So the purpose of asking Broderick to give his opinion, how could he see it being a benefit to even reach out to a person, even if we're miles away or if we're in the same city, and go reach out to that niece and say, hey, I'm sorry that happened. What could you possibly see could be benefits, pros and cons of that project?
I think that overall, as we talked about in this show, that Pastor Sheila's experiences where no one have said, hey, I'm sorry this happened to you. So to hear that from a family member helps you to say, okay, someone one recognized it was wrong, a family member,
Right.
and they're validating my feelings. You know, they're letting me know that they do care because
Right.
the person who violated me did not care and all those things. And when when you're hurt by your own blood, that's traumatic for a lot of people. So I think when you get the validation of your family saying, hey, I recognize, I'm sorry that this happened to you, just for them to be aware of what did happen to me. So I just think that just speaks volumes overall to a person, because as we hear in different situations, when your own mother, your blood, your dad, or whoever says that didn't happen to you, the person who birthed you, the person who, that you know of love or whatever that might be,
Right.
and they say that didn't happen to you, it's a blow. And we've heard different experiences throughout sexual assault abuse that was traumatic for that child, where Pastor Sheila had experienced that it was just not a good thing overall. So I think overall it's just to get validation from a family, just to recognize and understand this did happen to me, and to get some type of comfort from them.
Two things, Broderick, really quick before we let you go. All right. All of that was good. Let me ask you this: should that person be concerned with how the abuser feels? Because that person could be family as well. Should it be some consideration of that? And if so, what are your thoughts? So this proverbial niece of ours has been assaulted, and it was by one of our other relatives. So now you're reaching out to her, but you also have a relationship with the family member. Should you feel some kind of way, or I mean, what should be the response to that? I mean, or should there be any?
Before you answer that, can I tell you what I do get?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, she, how you doing? How's everything going? Never the conversation. And I'm looking like, hey, what's up? How's everything going? How's the weather? How's the sunshine? Everything, not a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. Am I supposed to, can our relationship go any higher than you not caring about my feelings? And then then they had the audacity in their secret time have a conversation about me. And then when I move away and get away, I think I'm better than them. You, Roger.
That's hurtful, because again, and the other part of it is, when you look at it on the other side, they don't a lot of times they don't know even how to deal with it. So it's kind of like,
Right.
Because growing up, we just don't talk about those things that have hurt us or have hurt the family or shamed the family that they feel, and we just don't want to talk about that.
Right.
Even when you look at, in some of my family members, I have someone who wants to know who their father is, and that parent does not want to tell who their father is, and it's just like, why? So it's kind of, in that it doesn't make you feel good at all, because
Right.
you just recognize and and the thing is, you didn't even, or that person didn't even do it. It's just, hey, mom, dad, recognize it, and for whatever's going on behind them, it's just a painful thing because it's your own family. And then when we keep pushing it off and pushing it off, It's like, because we don't want to deal with that reality. But we don't know when we actually talk about it and deal with the reality how much more freer we will be,
Right.
or they understand how much freer they will be just to really talk about it and talk about their feelings, because sometimes they may feel guilt. Well, yes, okay, yeah, all right, now let's talk about that,
Right.
and get through it together instead of just acting like nothing happened, because that's just not good at all.
But see, the silence is, to me, is approval.
Yes.
Your silence is you sided.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I was beat up, I hope that you would be concerned about that. You know, if somebody
Mhm.
bust my head with a bat or blacked my eyes or shot me or something, and I survived, I hope you would come. But to me, from this experience, you wouldn't come for that. You wouldn't come if I was sick. You wouldn't come for anything. That's how I'm left feeling
Mhm.
because of the whole situation. So what happens oftentimes is victims that survive, they just get away from the people and just stay away because you're nonchalant, you're non-care, you have no value for me. Let's move. I don't want to get stuck here, but
This is good. That's
because
a good dialogue.
it really
Really good.
and it seems like when I listen to you, I don't have a lot of concern for these perpetrators. Now I know cousin, she always say hurt people hurt people. I say evil, wicked people hurt people. And I'm sure we all have hurt somebody's feelings or done something in our lifetime that was inappropriate. But these traumatic experiences, I'm trying to get the victims through here. Now, somebody else needs to get on here and help these perpetrators.
Mhm.
Because, first of all, you committed a crime and you don't want to admit it. Then you broke up the family. You don't care. You don't even care. Okay, since it's such a secret, let's go tell the family the truth.
Mhm.
Well, my perpetrator, he's dead and gone, and he apologized to me. Then he went back and told his daughter another story. So that made me not want to. It was hard to forgive after you apologized. Then you went back and said that B is not telling the truth. Now I got to be a B.
Mhm.
And a lot of times that's what happens. These people, they just take upon themselves to know the story. You were not there.
Mhm.
How do you know the story? You were not there. So at least let me tell my truth,
Mhm.
my experience, without you saying that's not true. I don't believe it. I can't believe it. And so or not only that, I don't believe it. I can't believe. Don't tell the judge. That's what I was told. Don't tell the judge, or I'm going to go to jail. That's what my mother told me. And I know other women has told me, but that mother said, now it's over. Now she stayed with the man. These women, some of them, they stayed with the man. It's over. Get over it. We're gonna be all right. We just gonna swim, eat, drink, and be merry, and life goes on. And as far as someone that has survived these things, it's hard to be around. I've watched women that fathers has done things to them, and they continue. They forgive them and love them and move on. Now I think I missed this in the Aretha Franklin story. Someone told me that it was her father that gave her that baby. I don't know. I missed it. I thought it was one of the drug people that was at the hotels that day. And I don't know how true it was, but if that's the case, she went on to continue to love her father and forgive her father. And maybe it's easy. I don't know. You hear about what's the preacher woman name? She forgave her father, and she said he molested her. Joyce Meyer, over and over again. And in the end, she just took care of him at his death. She had a forgiving heart, and I understand that you're dealing with different personalities. So, but anyway, it's a lot, and that's why you can't be silent. You got to talk about it. You got to get it out. At least share your angle with somebody. If you can't talk about it with your family, go far off, honey. Go to a foreign country somewhere. Get that out. Talk to somebody, and I guarantee you, somebody in their family history their bloodline has dealt with this somehow. Another thing that we want you to know, victims are often blamed for their post-traumatic symptoms because sexual assault is a form of victimization that is particularly stigmatized in American society. Many victims suffer in silence, which only intense their distress and disgrace. Yeah, and then we have all bless you, all these addicts and all kind of issues and ADHD, and we need this, and we appeal for this. There appears to be a social impulse to blame traumatized individuals for their suffering. Yep, they'll call your name. They'll say, well, they're never going to be nothing. They brought it on themselves. One rationale is that provides non-victims with a false sense of security if they can place blame on victims rather than on perpetrators. Wow. Mm. That's I don't understand that. Why is it that we rather be mad at the victim? That's the experience. In my experience, the family that I dealt with, everybody just went silent. We didn't talk about it. Maybe one person talked about it. The mother threw off about it when she would get mad. I know what you're trying to do to those kids. And then that was it. They gonna grow up. That was it. But why do y'all feel that they blame the victim?
I believe it's this because I just know I was in my late 40s before I knew of any sexual abuse in my family. So all through my teens, 20s, 30s, and my early 40s, I thought that didn't exist in my family. So to hear it, if I wasn't in the midst of an experience, my first response probably would be, hey, I haven't heard that have happened, so it probably didn't. Are you making up something? Which is very insensitive. But and I'm definitely not trying to take up for people who have said this, but I'm trying to think for a moment. If families have always had these pockets of information, so this one did something to this one, but you didn't tell the rest of the family. This one did something to them. So you have family members that have no clue that something is happening. And then all of a sudden, someone gets bold and wants to tell this story. The first thing would be, if you're not careful, would be to reject it because it's such a harsh and damnable. Don't get me wrong, it's not any worse than any other sin. Lying is just as bad as stealing. Rape and abuse is just as bad. But it just seems like it's so much worse when it's in your family. And so I think that repugnant or repulsive feeling toward the actual act sometimes causes people to have the rationale that the victim is at fault or they're making it up versus really.
It reveals to me that it's not really a family. That there's obviously you pick a side and you choose a side when we're supposed to be standing together as a family, working through it together, hearing one another. What I find, you'll have people that run their mouth that don't know nothing, wasn't in nothing. But again, I say that person got a lot of things that they're trying to deflect. When you have people that want to come in and project about what has happened to me, and I'm looking at them like, baby, you haven't even taken care of your assault and your things, so, and your issues and your PTSD. So it's easy to say. So it's. I just think that to blame somebody that is in pain because it's a different kind of pain, because it's sexual abuse, because it's assault. I think for the most part, society, oftentimes it's women, and we just want to get over it. And I told you, we'll march for a man, but we might march a little bit for Breonna Taylor. But, and I know these are totally different issues, totally different. But the point that I'm trying to project here is that it's hurt. If I'm declaring that I'm hurting, then I want someone to be concerned. I remember back here a few years ago, something really, really traumatized happened, and I called one of your people, and they were so cruel to me. To the Holy Spirit said, "She's not listening to you. Get off the phone." I lowered my voice, and I said, "I'll talk to you later." And they was just ranting as if they were in the mix, and they weren't. So it lets me know they lack understanding, they lack empathy, they don't have no concern. But then when the tables are turned, they want you to get on an airplane, show up, and all that. So, and I will, if it's something, and I have. There's been times where I've got on the plane and went and seen about somebody that I love that had great pain, and great hurt, and even more traumatic, because a lot of people, another thing they say, honey, at least you survived. At least you didn't get killed. At least he didn't rape you. At least he didn't cut you. At least that that's the worst thing you can say. That's just like when people die and people say, "Well, they gone to a better place." Not now, my sister. We don't. You save that for you in your better place. Right now, let me process my anger. Let me process my loss. Let me process my bitterness. And that's what a lot of times people don't want you. They're stuck, so they want you to be stuck. Let me see. Research findings suggest that blaming victims for post-traumatic symptoms is not only erroneous, but also contributes to the vicious cycle of traumatization.
Traumatization?
Victims experience negative social reactions, have poor adjustments. Research has proven that the only social reactions related to better adjustment by victims were being believed and being listened to by others. Now that is the truth. When you let a person know, "Hey, I believe you. I know what happened," because I mean, that was, my mother never discussed it. She never, I used to say, "Mom, I just want to tell you what happened." "No, baby, not right now, not right now." Which my mother had a lot of things going on. And so I would give her that, and I would remove from but one day she said to me, she said, "I should have never let that man do what he did to my kids." Now, when she said that, that was a breakthrough moment for me, because that was acknowledgement.
Mm-hmm.
You know, do you see where I'm going with that, and how just that little bit? When she said, "I should have never," she owned something, and that was like taking some of that weight, taking some of that trauma, taking some of that pain on herself as a mother. And I know it's hard when we have failed as mothers, aunts, uncles, brothers. I know it's hard, it's traumatizing even on both sides. But you can always come back if you have breath in your body and be apologetic, opposed to being critical and having something negative to say. And if you don't want to say anything about your brother or your sister, don't say anything, but you still can tell the victim that, "I'm so sorry for your hurt and your disappointment, and I want you to be encouraged, and you're going to make it, and I believe, it's going to be all right."
Pastor Sheila, was that time that she said that to you, was the situation different? Was she still with that perpetrator, or they were?
She had been with him for over 18 years, and after that happened, she kind of still stayed with him for some more years. But this was when it kind of was over. Then she was living by herself, and she was living on her own strength.
Yeah, because I was just wondering, in that experience there, because it was now different. So now she was able to see a little bit clearer because she wasn't actually in there or whatever. Because sometimes I see people because that person was the provider. If we mess it up, we'll be homeless and all this other stuff, and we play these things in our mind. So I'm just curious that she was now out of that particular relationship, that now it's kind of, I can see or clearly.
Well, she was out and in, so
Okay.
it was a very traumatic experience.
Mhm.
We went through a lot. The system came in. We got in foster care. She ran away for a little while. We didn't even know where she was.
Mhm.
Then she came back. But my mother didn't have a mother. She didn't have a father. She didn't have any support. Her mother died when she was a baby. I mean, and none of these are excuses, but that's her story.
Right.
That's her pain. And a lot of people, when they read my book, they say, well, I get so mad at your mother. And we like to pass judgment, but I used to pass judgment on her, but I no longer did, because I understand where she came from and what she was working with.
Mhm.
No excuse for what she allowed to happen in our life, because I was running to her looking for help that she couldn't give, she couldn't provide, she didn't have the strength over this man, and there was no support. Everyone kind of feared him because he was the oldest, so they had a sense of fear.
Mm.
And that's another thing, the reason we don't have these discussions, because we don't want our other family members to like us, or we don't want our neighbors not to like us, or we don't want to deal with it because we don't want people not to like us. Are you still with us, Calvin?
Yes, I am. I'm listening. I'm listening.
So and I look at some of my loved ones that have been traumatized, and they went for years being tormented by this issue and just throwing their lives to the gutter. And I know some of them still, I'm saying, over engulfed it in their pain and in drugs and in alcohol. And people think, oh, just get off drugs. But when you tell somebody I'm hurting, and then they say, well, so what? And especially if they're older than you, they may be your sister, your brother, your uncle, and they say, well, it happened to me and I'm all right. That doesn't work for everyone. That worked for some, but it does not work for everybody. So we need to remember that how you deal with it, it may not be easy. When someone comes to you and tell you that they've been assaulted, they've been hurt, we always tell you these things you need to know. Listen, sit down with them, find them help, and get you some help. If you think it's too much, go to a therapist and say, hey, I just heard something. It's too much for me. I've had people to call me, and children to call me, tell me their story. And I kept it privately, and when it got addressed, the other people got angry. They said bad things about me because the child came to me to let me know their story. And so, and this is what I've been doing at this point. If I have an adult come to me about a child, I tell that adult, it's your responsibility to report this. It's not mine. A lot of times they want me to advocate for them, support them, encourage them, read them a story, and they don't want to do anything because they don't want their families to hate them. And that is a big thing. So I hope that you all are really getting free from just having this conversation.
It's going to be a part 3 on this one.
I feel I'm having an experience because I have some family members that I love, and they have been through a lot because of our history, my family's history, my sister's, my brother's history, and we were so traumatized, and when we start coming out, you don't want to go back and help and deal with other people's issues and other people's problems, not generation after generation after generation. And it's like, Lord, when is it going to stop? That's my thing. When is it gonna stop, Anthony?
I
When-
cannot answer that question.
When is sexual abuse gonna stop in our families?
I do know this. I do know it will reduce significantly when family members, friends, when we all start to deal with the hand that we've been dealt. Confront the people who have done the atrocities. Definitely rush to the place. You know, the body exemplifies what we should do. If you hit your toe, your body rushes blood to that toe to actually initiate the healing process.
Mhm.
That's how a family should be. Wherever the person who's ever been hurt, whether you've talked to them in a year or 2 years or 3 years, if you find out that person has been assaulted or hurt, reach out to them.
But
And then
don't you
start the
think they
healing
feel
process.
if they reach out to you, then I'm betraying the other part of the family?
They may feel that way, but however, I don't think that part will ever disappear.
My cousin told me, she said, Sheila, I didn't know that was happening to you all. Now, maybe she didn't, because it wasn't like we was just having a conversation. But Valerie would always she would cuss everybody out about us. Y'all know what he doing to them kids and stuff, but she's passed on. Valerie was the only one that had a voice. All them men, it's about 8 brothers, all of them men. And they never said a word. And they never said, I'm sorry. And even though my mother wasn't married to him, but it was common law. We had been in that family for so long. And then they don't understand why I remove myself, because it's too painful to be around people that can see you get hurt and never open their mouth to say, baby, I can't do nothing. I don't know what to do. And they, and we're just gonna be friends. And I just felt that I didn't feel valuable within that family. That's why I removed myself. I had already been victimized, and no one said anything, so I didn't feel important. I didn't feel valuable, so I had to go where I feel valuable. And that's important to me, and that's what a lot of people do. That's why they run away. That's why they don't want to talk to you no more. That's why they don't say anything.
Well, I mean, I can't disagree with anything you said, because it sounds like it's a true representation. I will say this: looks like this teaching and this session is going to take a little bit longer than we thought, and so as we bring it to,
I'm having an experience.
Right.
Are you having an experience?
it's somewhat daunting. It's
Are you having an experience, Broderick?
I mean, I could hear it in
It's
Broderick's
it's like we
answer.
all have work to do. We're not just saying,
But-
we're not pointing fingers like you. We all have a part. I'm even thinking about some of my family members that I left behind in pain, and I just got tired. I just said, are we just gonna be junkies? I'm tired of junkies. And so I just ran away from them. I tried to encourage them so much. And in order for me to survive, honey, I just said, I'm running away. Not that I didn't love them.
However, being a junkie is self-inflicted a lot of times.
But look what this says. It says victims experience negative social reaction, have poor adjustment. Research have proven the only social reaction related to better adjustment by the victims are being believed. When you have not been believed, that person have lesser time, lesser strength. It seems like they don't have the strength of the person that.
The only thing is this: with the events that have happened in my family, I knew nothing about them when they happened.
Right.
So you don't get the benefit.
Have you ever said, have you ever said to anyone in your family, I'm so sorry that has happened? And have you ever said to them, did you talk to anybody about it? Did you ever get,
No, because the time release capsules is like, it was revealed to some. Not that I want to talk about it, I just want to let you know this is how we handle it as a family. I'm not letting you know my story because I want to hear that you care, or that's not how it came out. It came out for a whole nother purpose. So you're not even free to talk to a person because really they've kept it secret for so long.
But I'm saying, like, if you had the opportunity, do you think it's too late for you to say, just say if it was your niece, for you to say, hey, I thought and I pondered, I just want to say that I'm sorry for your experience, and if you ever need someone to talk to about it, I wouldn't judge you. I'm here for that.
I have not said that, but I would think I would want to say that in person with the people.
Honey, you know it's Corona. Now you ain't going nowhere catching no Corona.
But we have to.
Now you say, what's the joke line? Hit a joke line right here.
We have to bring
Now,
this
you
to
wanna
a close.
go
'Cause
if
I see
you-
you ready to get crazy.
If you want
don't touch
to
me,
go,
don't
if
touch
you
me,
want to
don't
go
touch
and
me.
get some Corona, no, now you go on over there and fly on over there, then talk to them face to face, and most of them have crazy anyway. I'm just saying people that's dealing with this situation, they got some PTSD, and you want to do face to face. Hey, call them on the phone, baby. What's going on? Fly on out there. But thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Broderick, for sharing and just trying to enlighten people and letting the world know it is okay to talk about assault on our families and our world today.
Hey, thank you guys for joining us. We will continue this again next week. It's been an awesome time. Thanks for having me, and I'm looking forward to it. So definitely want you guys to be tuned in as well. We love you guys, and come back again and let's see what the whole conclusion of the matter is.